I have with me here the second Panther Lake laptop that I've covered in the channel. This is the Honor MagicBook Pro 14, a 14.6-inch OLED 120Hz laptop with a touch screen, backlit keyboard, powered by the Intel Core Ultra 5 338H. So this is a lower end version, but you can also get this with the Core Ultra 7 and the Ultra X9. Now the X9 I have covered. That has the 388H processor with 16 cores. This one has 12 cores and it has Arc B370 graphics. Now that may mean just jargon to you, but what it translates into is a newer version of Intel's integrated graphics that is leaps and bounds ahead of the previous Iris graphics that we had, or what we had with the, say, the Lunar Lake even. This is a lot more powerful. Now my configuration that Honor sent me has 32 gigabytes of RAM alongside with that Core Ultra 5 and a terabyte SSD. Wi-Fi 6E is on board, Thunderbolt 4, 92 watt hour battery, and 100 watt charging, which only takes, well, just over an hour to fully charge the battery. So it looks very, very promising. This Panther Lake laptop from Honor. So what's included with that Honor MagicBook Pro 14? Well, we get a little bit of paperwork. We have their Honor supercharger using GaNTech, so very small, yet outputs 100 watts, the Honor supercharge there, and a Type-C to Type-C cable. So the MagicBook Pro 14 comes in 3 colors: starry gray, which is this one right here. I personally just call that silver myself. Green or white, and 14.6 inches is our size of it, and the thickness is 15.9 millimeters, and it weighs 1.37 kilos. Not bad. So there's a little cutout, you can't see it on camera, but right here where you can lift up the screen there, the touch screen. And yes, as you can see, you can do that one-handed. Now, backlit keyboard, full size, 1.5 millimeters of travel. So not too much travel and not too short either. I don't really like keyboards that I find that are quite shallow, and the typing experience on this is quite good too as well with it. Now pressing down, I don't really feel any noticeable flex, tiny bit pressing really hard, but no, they've got a backing plate underneath that, so it's very firm too. Now our fingerprint reader here, this is a Goodix fingerprint reader, and it does work really well. So you touch there and it'll just log you in straight away once you get that all set up. And this is for our backlight right here. So function key, and you can then cycle through that to turn it off. You have the low, high, that's it. So the 2 different levels there, which is great. Now, when you do have this on a desk and you're looking at the keyboard, you can sometimes see a bit of that light coming through if you're on the high settings, so you can easily just go along and then put it into the low, of course, to solve that problem. Half-size arrow keys, and have I hit this fingerprint reader power button by mistake? Yes, but it's recessed more. As you can see here, it's quite flat, and that means when I tapped it, I didn't actually end up putting the whole laptop into sleep mode there, so it wasn't quite annoying with that. So overall, good keyboard. Touchpad is also excellent, so it's a nice large touchpad here, and it is a haptic touchpad, so you get that little vibration when you press it. It is force sensing, they do call it, and it's a glass pressure sensitive surface to it. So yes, it's losing the glass there. Has a sample rate of 240 Hertz, which is quite high for a touchpad. Supports 5 points here, multi-gesture support, even though Windows 11 is only actually supporting 4, but I guess it's future-proof there for later. Gaining access to the internals, which I do not recommend. You may even void your warranty, so check on that one. There are these T5 Torx screws all around the outside. Remove those. Use a pry tool. Start around the middle here. This comes up the easiest, and then work on one of the corners. Get one of those corners up, and then pull in this direction if you got, say, this corner up. So the opposite direction, and then you may even have to give it a bit of a wiggle, and then it pops off and up. So there's these little clips that are holding it into place. You have to be careful that you don't end up damaging those. So for maintenance, you would be able to blow and clean out these 2 fans. So very good to see that it has the dual cooling fans within and a very large copper transfer thermal pipe right here. You can see this is a lot thicker than normal, and this is where our chipset obviously is located. RAM is right here. Our boot SSD, and yes, a 2280 PCIe 4.0 0 spare slot. So you can put in a full-size one there and easily add or double your storage, which is great. The Wi-Fi card, that is part of the motherboard, so cannot be upgraded, unfortunately. Right here, it's that little tiny card. We get a stunning display in our MagicBook Pro 14 2026 edition. This is an OLED, 120 Hz is the refresh rate, and it does support touch. Now, at first glance, it may look like, on camera at least, that this is all just one layer, one level, right? But no, there's actually a little raised lip around with this bezel. I don't really know why they've done that. I would have preferred to it have been all just one layer continuous, or all just a sheet of glass in front of that, but this is the way they decided to set it up. And it still does look really good. The curved edges of them make it stand out looking a little bit different, perhaps a bit more of a modern look. Camera up the front here at the top of the bezel. It is a 1080p webcam. There is a white status LED next to it, so you know it's on, and there are in total 3 microphones with it. Quality is all right. The audio from the mics also sounds okay. And that brightness goes all the way up to 700 nits. I haven't quite measured that with my Spider X Pro. I get just over 580 nits from the measurements that I've taken. And Adobe RGB coverage, very good, of 95%. So that's excellent. 100% of DCI-P3, and it is a true 10-bit color display, this one, so very good. And the contrast ratio, well, typical here for an OLED is that it is 1,000,000 to 1. So really good screen that Honor has selected and used in this. And I do like the fact that it's a touch screen. Once you get used to it, there's really no going back. I love my touchscreen laptops. Speakers, we've got those 2 downward firing speakers, and for me, this is the weakness of this laptop is the speakers. They're not really amazing. What they're lacking in is volume to me. They're simply just too quiet. They should be louder than what they are. There is a slight hint of bass. Mids and trebles are okay, and it's just those 2 speakers. I feel like Honor, they've put a lot of effort into this laptop with the screen to build the keyboard and the touchpad, but the speakers feels like a bit of an afterthought, as you hear from this sample, which to me is just not loud enough. All right, so here we are in Windows now. It's Windows 11 Home, not the Pro version. And we've got a GoodX fingerprint reader. So I'll tap that now and we can just log in like this. Super quick. Wi-Fi 7 is not on board with this particular model. So it does have Wi-Fi 6E, which is from Intel. But I was kind of hoping for future proofing, it would have had that newer standard of wireless. But most people don't have a Wi-Fi 7 router anyway. So we'll start out here with the performance. It's excellent. It's much better than what I thought, considering we have a Panther Lake chip here, but I don't have the top spec model. So you can get it all the way up to the Ultra 9 388H. I have the Ultra 5, the 338H. But still, look at this single core score here of almost 2,900. Multi-core score here, 14,000 points, considering it only has 12 cores. That is a very good score. So it's a great chipset. And when you look at the integrated graphics with that Arc B370, putting out almost close to 50,000 with the OpenCL score here for Geekbench 6.3. But what I'm really interested in is TimeSpy. So this is a huge jump, even from Lunar Lake. So the art graphics in the Lunar Lake in, say, the MagicBook Art, last year's model, was considered to be very good at the time. And that has a graphics score, my model, 3,200 and something. And here, you can see we're now at a graphics score of nearing towards 6,000 points. That is a huge step up in performance. Not quite double, but we're getting there. And that's aided by the fact that we have the fast RAM too, which is boosting things up. So we've got those 8,533 mega transfers. And the CPU score here again is, well, very good. 11,475. So big jump up, Panther Lake compared to Lunar Lake, even at this more basic lower chip that we have when it comes to those Panther Lakes. Now the Steel Nomad score here, this is for, well, the graphics test, and it's getting a score of over 1,000 points. This is not what I expected. I thought it would be quite a bit lower than this. So again, a very good score here. And if you look, then it's Cinebench. This is the 2024 version of Cinebench. Multi-core score there of 969 points. Single core score 122 points. So it's only got those 12 cores as I mentioned, but that's an excellent result because that is even better than some chips with 16 threads or even 16 cores that it has managed to better there. So it's an excellent performer, and Windows in general feels very quick and snappy. The drive speeds, they're really good. So PCIe 4.0, and we're getting reads of almost 7,000, writes are over 6,000 for sequential, and the random speeds there are decent. So it all checks out. Great performer here. Now, built-in software, Windows has some bloatware that comes with it. You can see we do get from Honor on a workstation and the PC Manager. Now, PC Manager, let's just bring that up. This is where you can find, I think the most important thing is the driver updates. So official driver updates, BIOS updates, you get them through this. So it's a required, much needed application. You have other bits about the display. So eye comfort display, color management there. You can put it in the ebook mode. You've got AI defocus, comfort display, all options that are very good. Screen sharing, you can log into your account as well and do the Honor Share stuff, and smart audio settings there. I tend to keep it on what's on music at the moment, and here system optimization. Well, you can also go and change the power modes if I just get out of the drivers. So you can see Honor Turbo X, we have the smart mode, which is default, but for my benchmarks, the gaming, the video editing, all I'm showing you in this review, I've used function, then P to put it into the performance mode, which is called obviously performance here. So that's the shortcut. So function and P for that to put it into the high performance, which will increase the fan noise and generate a little bit more heat. So the chipset can handle video editing really well, and this is something that I've been watching for many years now since doing my laptop reviews, is the evolution of integrated graphics when it comes to editing 4K video. Adobe Premiere Pro, it is the latest version, 2026. The timeline is very, very fast, and playback is not dropping any frames at all, which is great. So yes, the Panther Lake here, this Ultra 5 338H, very good with that B370 graphics. It means that you can edit these videos, the timeline will not lag, and it's been like this for some time. Really since the Lunar Lake was very good at editing, and once we got the Iris graphics, Iris Xe, things really did improve. However, there is a big problem at the moment that is temporary, and that is that Adobe Premiere Pro does not support the Panther Lake chip properly when it comes to encoding video, so it gets stuck like this. As you can see now, the progress bar just simply doesn't go anywhere. Now, there should be hopefully a patch for this to fix it. I am pretty sure they're aware of this. So in the meantime, I'd have to use DaVinci Resolve to be able to edit and export video. So right now I can just edit really well, but I can't do the exporting. So seeing those synthetic benchmarks, they do look really good. An impressive step up, over 40% of the Lunar Lake, at least what I've tested out with the MagicBook art that I do have. You can see here running really well, 60 frames per second. Now this is GTA 5, the Enhanced Edition, on the high preset. And this is where things get a little bit crazy because you see that, okay, 60 frames per second, that's not really that impressive. However, when I go into the settings, you'll see that I'm running the native resolution right here, okay? So that is 3120 by 2080. So almost, not quite, but almost 4K resolution. This integrated graphics is able to do it. So the native resolution of our touchscreen here in the MagicBook Pro 14, gaming it over 60 frames per second on average on the high settings. It's pretty impressive. Sure, it's an old game, but you can look at those graphics. It looks really good. There's a little bit of screen tearing, sure. So I'd probably put the VSync on to help fix that. And that would cap our frame rate too, also at the 60, or try to cap it at 60 there. So very, very smooth. I'm impressed by this for integrated graphics. The Arc B370, much better than I expected. And we'll step it up to a game that's a bit more demanding, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I have video set to 1080p, and the graphics preset I'm going to go with, I don't want to make it too demanding here, so I've set it to medium. We'll see what that benchmarks at. So that gives us an impressive 82.73 frames per second, 1080p medium preset for Cyberpunk 2077 with the lower level B370 iGPU. Great stuff. And then the Witcher 3 here that I'm running at 1080p with the medium preset, you can see we're getting over 100 frames per second. So again, not bad for integrated graphics that it's able to do this. You can even run this game at 4K and you'll get close to, depending on your visual settings, 60 frames per second. So that is incredibly good. We have a huge step up here from the Lunar Lake, the previous Arc graphics, to now come to this new Arc B370, and the B390s, of course, even better, but that's in the top end Core Ultra 9 model. So how are the thermals then of this Core Ultra 5 338H? Well, we can see some things in the red here, and this is where it got up to 100 degrees Celsius, so that is not far at all away from the T-junction max. And you can see that it did trigger powering throttling, but not actual core thermal throttling, according to HW Info, that is. So yes, it gets hot, but that was only for a few seconds when it reached that 100 degrees peak, and then it drops right down. And you can see there that T-junction max, in fact, no, it did end up reaching that with that 0 degrees there. So it gets quite warm. Fan noise, let's have a listen to. Now, this is a worst case scenario. So running a benchmark, this is what the fans like in the performance mode with the MagicBook Pro 14. And if you wanted to run Linux on your MagicBook Pro 14 2026 edition, and not so good. So this is the latest build of Linux Manjaro. And yes, it'll boot. Wi-Fi 7 works. A lot of things do work, but I have noticed that I can't get the touchpad to work or the touch screen. So it's going to be a while before we get the drivers sorted out for that. So if you're keen on running Linux straight away, well, it's not going to happen until we can get these drivers sorted for it. So recapping now, my pros and cons. Great screen, that OLED 120 Hz. It's bright, it's clear, touch works well. Haptic touchpad, excellent. Keyboard, excellent. Backlit, we've got Thunderbolt 4. Wi-Fi 6E, not 7. I would have liked to have seen Wi-Fi 7 just to future-proof it a little more. The 92 watt-hour battery in my testing goes for 10 to 11 hours of office work, which is great at 30% brightness. And the hinge feels good and goes all the way back like so. Excellent build quality all over. Fan noise, it can get a little loud when you do something very demanding, as expected in the performance mode. And what I've discovered is the downside to this laptop is something that I hope they can easily fix with a audio software update. So the speakers are simply just too quiet for my liking. They're not loud enough, and that is the only real downside I have discovered to this laptop. It is very good, phenomenal performance from the 12 cores and the Arc P370 with the Ultra 5 version I have here. Now, if you go and get the Ultra X9 388H version of this laptop, you're going to get a step up even more in terms of especially graphics performance. You will then be seeing around about 20% performance more, and I've covered that before in a previous video with another brand, that particular chipset, and I can tell you now it is fantastic. But what you're getting here with the Ultra 5 model, still very, very good. The other thing I noticed is for you Linux users out there, you're going to struggle with this machine because I used a latest build of Manjaro with one of the newer kernels. I believe it is 6.18 or above. No touchpad, no touch screen, unfortunately. That's a minor nitpick and probably not going to affect hardly anyone, but for Linux users out there, I like to let you know anyway that you're going to struggle with this one for drivers in the beginning here. Also, a struggle is Adobe Premiere Pro. It could not even export video because the Panther Lake support from Adobe is, well, there's something going on there. There's a big problem at the moment. And I've seen it on another Panther Lake laptop. So it's something they are aware of and will be fixing hopefully shortly, but it will perform really well with editing 4K video. It's just that I can't export it at the moment. All up, excellent laptop here, a real winner from Honor. Just, if you're watching this video, Honor, please boost up those speakers, the volume. Software, I'm sure you can just tweak up the gain or something to make them sound a lot louder. They're just too weak. That is really it.